Hey guys, what's up? So I'm hoping to record this video for you. I'm noticing a little bit of a lag in my camera, but hopefully it's not showing up on with the audio. I'm just gonna shout out my little Howie over here as a Jedi. It's my cat. He's also over here. I'm gonna grab him real quick. Come here, buddy. Oh, this is my Howie. Maybe he can give you a little meow. He's serving up the tapes. He's gonna bite me. He does not like this. Can I get a hello? Oh, he smells so good. Well, this is my son. He's so mad. Alright, well, without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, guys, how's it going? So, we're gonna do our Industrial Revolutions review real quick. I have my cat at my feet, and after that little intro display, he's gonna be a little upset. So, if he bites me, you're gonna hear it, and my mic is kind of sensitive, so hopefully it all goes well. But this will be a quick one because we didn't spend a lot of time, and I think naturally being involved with the industry in the way that you guys are, that we should hopefully have this in the bag. But just some refreshers before we keep going. This is actually a drawing right here of the Peaky Blinders factory. You're going to see some shots from Peaky Blinders throughout this because it's a good reference point for those who have watched it. So throughout the Industrial Revolution, we're talking about the rise of industry, which includes a few key factors here. The factory system. So, I mean, obviously with Industrial Revolution, we'll have factories. Urbanization, which is going to be the creation of cities. I mean, even Syracuse you can think of as a city that came out of this rise of industry. However, with global, we're going to be sticking more towards the English side of things. Okay, so like England's industrialization. You also have the creation of the middle class through the rise of industry. So if you imagine it, the farmer used to produce and sell goods, and then they would exchange those goods for other goods, or they would give a tithe, or they would pay the nobility. Like the feudal system's kind of like kind of like how I have my serfs on my game; they pay me taxes. With this, you have like a middle class who's going to become business owners, who are not necessarily noble landowners, but they do manage to have businesses that produce profit, or they are involved with the business that and produce profit. So therefore, like traders, merchants, different types of accountants, these different jobs are going to create the middle class. And again, through the rise of industry, we have innovations, steam engines, telegraphs, cotton gin, automobiles. There's a ton of innovations and inventions that make lives easier for people, and will eventually lead to like more leisure time in your daily life. We don't see that off the start of the Industrial Revolution because leisure is not necessarily a result at this start, but towards the end, a vacuum means that you don't have to dust your entire house, and it gives you another 40 hours in the day. Or like a microwave. How much time do people save with microwaves? These innovations really do a lot for people's lives. As far as pictures here, top right we have Birmingham industrialization. You can see how packed the cities are with the apartments and the buildings next door, and then on the bottom here we have again the Peaky Blinders factory there. So some causes of the revolution. I don't know what that image is. I got Bitmoji, got a little wild with it, but it's a water something, I think. But we're gonna move on. So causes, we have an industrial boom in England for its geographical location, for geographical reasons. There's coal and iron all throughout England, and there's canals that divide the whole country up. So it's easy to ship goods out of the country, it's easy to move goods within the country, it's easy to move goods from factory to factory, it's easy to ship coal throughout the country. We no longer need to use wood for fuel, we can use coal, and then eventually we're going to use the coal for steam to make power. This whole process is kicked off by the textile industry boom, which is because of the power loom and the cotton gin. The cotton gin is going to be talked about more in U.S. history, but basically it makes cotton cleaner, more durable, and more readily available because there's so much of it that they can produce way more. It also leads to a rise in slavery in the United States, but that's U.S. history. The power loom is made so that is an invention that made it so that you could make a lot of money off of these types of textiles and cloths, and also you needed workers to work the machines and not necessarily sewing stuff at home. Last but not least, farmers were becoming unemployed and they found work in factories. farming had innovations in the sense that, like, could you imagine trying to plow an entire field by hand versus a tractor? You know, when people are plowing an entire field by hand, you're going to need at least 200 people. You know, those of you who have seen the Amish work, think about like an Amish barn raising. It takes, like, you know, they get their families all together and they put the thing together in 2 days, 1 day maybe even. But they need a lot of people. Whereas when you have these innovations like the tractor, or certain plowing systems, you don't need all the people. So you can just have a few people on the job site doing that to the land and working the land, and then you have a lot of unemployed people who are then going to move to the cities and work in the factories. So all these things kind of swirled up for the Industrial Revolution to kick off in England. On the right here, you see an Industrial Revolution, pre-Industrial Revolution right around it, the map of what goods are in the countries and the cities. And again, you see the canal systems and trains. Perfect space to have the Industrial Revolution. So we have the Industrial Revolution. We're making money. We're making goods. We're selling them throughout the world. But what's more concerning with the Industrial Revolution for the Regents is going to be the effects of it. So the effects of it are urbanization. So Syracuse is no longer just some small city next to a lake. It booms into a huge city. Birmingham booms into a huge city. People are moving to cities rather than living in the countryside. And there's going to be some consequences of that as well. You have increased pollution and different environmental factors. So Syracuse, again, I'm going to keep using that as an example. Onondaga Lake is toxic. Technically, for most of my childhood, you couldn't swim in it. And now you can actually swim in it technically. Fun fact: the amphitheater where the concerts are actually all what they would do is they would dig the bottom of the lake to get all the toxins out of the lake. I have hair flying around me. Sorry. All right. They dig the bottom of the lake out, and all that dirt they pull it up on the land, and they flattened it, and they made it into the amphitheater. So if you were to puncture through the ground in the amphitheater, it would be toxic waste below the grass, and they almost didn't allow chairs because of that. But we'll get away from that. You have the creation of labor unions and labor laws, so workers are starting to realize that without them, these factories don't exist, and they want proper protections because they're sick and tired of working 7 days a week for 40 hours, and rightfully so. And you also have labor laws, which doesn't allow for this picture here on the right with child labor. It's a big bummer. You know, it's my number one fave there, child labor. I'm just kidding, but you can see that it's not safe. The kid's not even wearing shoes. I don't know if the guy on the left's wearing shoes or if his feet are just black from being, you know, I don't even know what kind of toxins he's around. But yeah, them crawling through the machines, however useful for their size, not quite healthy. A side effect of that as well is going to be they're not in school. They're not learning how to read and write. So your population, as time moves on, sure, it might be profitable for 20 years, but when these guys become adults and they go to have kids, they can't read and write. And that's a huge consequence. You're going to have replaceable parts, which is kind of a big deal for like military and just like, I guess, all around life. So instead of having to like building I'm going to use a gun for an example, by hand, you could actually just let's say something in the product breaks. Instead of replacing the entire product and building a whole new one, you can just swap it out for a part. It saves money, and it means that there's going to be a lot more of those products around. So that's a huge effect of it. And again, I say again, it's the first time I mentioned it, the expansion of imperialism. So England was a massive empire before Industrial Revolution because of the East India Trading Company. However, after the Industrial Revolution, they are even stronger of an empire because they are going to go to Africa, they're going to go to East Asia, they're going to go to the Indies, they're going to go to Canada, and they're going to rob them of their resources to fill their industry and fuel their industry. So there's a reason why our next unit is going to be imperialism, because these go hand in hand. So imperialism is a direct effect of this, and it was happening a little bit before as well, but this definitely put the gas on the fire. Or they hit that gas pedal a lot harder to imperialism after the Industrial Revolution. And I did this because of urbanization, but it probably didn't make any sense, but that's okay. It's all cool. So enduring issues to discuss. I thought I put a Fortnite picture in this side, but I guess I didn't. But anyways, enduring issues to discuss. So on this topic, you're going to see different things you can share, like social inequality. from the classes system. So that the working class to the middle class to the upper class, there's inequality. Working conditions, you saw those kids working, that ain't that fair or a fun lifestyle. And the wage gap is going to be created. It was there before with kings and queens, but like you're going to see it actually created on a capitalistic sense where people can attain that without being born into it, but the wages are going to be increasing throughout time. And that's going to be something you can relate to maybe in more modern enduring issues, problems. So innovation is a big one. New inventions or innovations. The cotton gin, railroads, all of the ones that we've discussed so far, you can include onto that. Absolutely. Innovation is huge during this time. The factory system, replaceable parts, cars, all of those things are included. Conflict. So labor unions and imperialism, I think you could discuss through conflict. Labor unions are going to fight for their right to fair labor, and they'll go on different strikes, and some of those get bloody. People did die at the time during union strikes. They're definitely not the same anymore. And imperialism is going to be a huge conflict, right? Because you have whole countries of peoples being exploited for resources to feed these industries. Now, why I'm sharing this part of this slide here is because when you're writing about imperialism, if you want to include outside information, you can reference even like, hey, the Industrial Revolution kicked off in England just before this, and that's why these countries are here in the first place, right? So these enduring issues are some very significant parts of this. Migration is an enduring issue, and you can talk about the movement of farmers to cities and urbanization. Some downsides of that, some positives of that. I mean, like, doo-doo in the streets is what I used to say, right? You have some downsides of that. You have increased crime. You have lower life expectancy. You have people living, a whole just changing in lifestyles as well. Living in the city is very different than living in the country, even today, right? And then last but not least, we have the impact on the environment. Pollution is a big one. The Thames River was so, remember we read that poem, the Thames River is so polluted that people were just dying all around it, and kids were being born with defects. Pollution, impact on environment, also the straining of the draining of resources from these environments, the coal usage, all of those are impacts. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. You see the blood coming out of the snake's nose, or is that fire? So this is definitely, you can tell with the Russian here, it says this picture goes hard for like labor unions and like anti-capitalism industry, and they're like stabbing it. So the picture's kind of going wicked hard. He's in this guy with like a stone on a stick. Anyways, and I got this $100 bill at the base here because it also it leads to more capitalism. You can reference capitalism, especially with social inequality or conflict, or an innovation. And up here we have the population density of England in 1801. You're going to see a lot more people start moving to the cities at this time, and after as well, even more so after. This is showing that like 800 people per square mile is the max in Halifax, which I'm going to guarantee you that in London, and you see in Birmingham here too. So these little cities that are set up here, Plymouth, Southampton, a lot of soccer teams around here, Newcastle. As time moves on, these numbers are only going to increase and increase and increase. I'd have to imagine that the people per square mile in like London or Birmingham is going to be far, far beyond that. And I think that's it, honestly. So we're going to end it there. Just, let me see here, see if I close this out, if it's going to like go to my regular camera here. Oh, how do I close this out? I'm going to cut all this out. Okay, cool. So we're going to pick this back up here. Quick video, just really breaking down the simple stuff of the Industrial Revolution to kind of re-jog your memory on that. Studying the enduring issues, and the effects are going to be big. The causes are going to be big. I'm not so much concerned about the materials within it. The actual loom sewing machines are seen on political cartoons, and we'll do some of those in class, but I'm not too concerned with those. I'm more so concerned with the cause and effect. So without further ado, thank you for showing up. Thank you for staying this long. I could grab Howard, but he's sleeping, so I don't think I'll bother him. So instead, I'll show you something else in my room. I don't have anything else. Oh, I have this. I'll end with this. This is a little sound box from Austria. And this is going to be the most freaking creepy video to end with. But, oh, right here. Oh, it's broken. Oh no. Alright, we'll end it there.